After living in Chicago for about 6 months, Angela was already earning $50,000 a year, which is about 136 million Uganda shillings, working as a manager of an Italian restaurant. Angela was earning more than her husband and was the breadwinner in the home. This slowly led to a conflict.
As soon as I got the job, I am the one who got a new apartment for us to move out. And that's why his dad was like, oh, you have a winner here. And then I had a company car. And, I just arrived in the country and posted my resume on the internet. And I'm like, and I got the job. Now, for him, he's lucky because his father was a social worker. So he was working for his father as a secretary. He was his father's secretary. He's earning $17,000 a year. And so basically, I automatically became the breadwinner. So I moved us out of his father's house and moved us to our first apartment in Chicago.
Angela started to look for better employment as she had to take care of herself and other adults and a home. Angela decided to quit her job to focus on finding a new job. Third World War kicked off when Angela could not find another job immediately.
Well, now the real problem came now. When I got that $50,000 job in the restaurant in Chicago, I was aggressive. I said, you know what? We can get out of this apartment. We can get a better job. He said, what do you mean? You already have $50,000. What more do you want? I said, I'm not satisfied. We can live in a better place. We can live in a 3-bedroom. I was targeting $100,000. So I told him, I said, I have to quit this $50,000 job to target a better one. How? All hell broke loose. He says, how? Who the hell do you think you are? Aren't you satisfied? I said, I am satisfied, but I know I can do better. I don't have a car as we speak. You have a car, and it was through your father. We're barely getting by. Yes, we're kind of like living hand to mouth. And I look at my resume. I know I can do it. Everybody loves my law degree, economics degree, master's in international management. Everybody's calling. I said, Alonzo, I know I can get a better job. And then we started arguing, and he says, if you quit that job, this is where the fight started. So there's a time I remember I was having dinner, and I was having this TV dinner table in front of me, and he talked, and he didn't like what I said, and I think I dared to challenge him, He just grabbed the table, the food went flying, and I remember he threw the table and it hit the wall, and the leg of the table came flying past me. But by then I didn't think he's aggressive. I thought, he's just angry. I'm like, I'm sorry, I made you angry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting the job as soon as possible. We were just arguing about so many things. I remember him boxing the wall. I remember him boxing the door. And I truly thought that I was in a very healthy relationship. I knew I was in love. So anyway, finally after things hit the climax in those 3 weeks, one day we were asleep, and he said in the middle of the night, he just said, Angie, I'm done.
Alonzo soon dropped the bomb and let it all out. Angela could not believe that a man she had left her life behind for, a man she had given her beauty, her youth and her first love, could walk away from her when she needed him the most. Having made everyone believe Alonzo Ward was an angel, nobody understood the extent of the torture she was going through in her marriage.
I've never had a heart attack, but I think I know what it feels like. I felt, I started gasping for what? The questions. Wait a minute, I've left my family for you. I've left Uganda for you. My father gave us a blessing. Your father gave us a blessing. We're supposed to be together forever. What are you talking about? We're supposed to be together forever. And he mocked me. He's like, what do you mean together forever? He says, don't you know that nothing lasts forever? Grow up. You're so naive. Himself would even say, I'm so naive. And I'm like, I started crying. I'm like, you can't. We're together. This is marriage. We'll get through this. I'm going to get the job. I'm about to get a new job. I swear I'm about to get a new job. And I'm crying and I'm desperate. I'm like, my God, I'm finished. I swear I felt I was going to die. Then I remember the next day, he said, I'll be out of here in a week. The whole thing was shocking. The whole experience was shocking. He spent the whole week packing every single thing that was his. Even a pin, he packed it. So finally, I begged. He said no. Left me on the floor crying. Then finally, in the money in the jar, he said, okay. He said, okay, here. He left me $50. $50. I lost appetite. I remember calling my father and I said, Papa, because I was used to this Oxford life. Papa, bring money now, you know. So I said, Papa, the relationship has failed. Send a ticket. I'm coming back home. My dad said, what? My darling, that is not how they handle life. You face your challenges, you stay there, and you make the best out of the worst situations. And I couldn't say, Papa, I'm broke. I couldn't say that there's no, I couldn't. It was too embarrassing. I couldn't explain that this gentleman I'd put on a pedestal, who I made sound amazing, had left me in such a cruel manner. But I know as a father, he called Alonzo's father. Father to father, the way they do it here. You know, here they respect unions much more. He said, yeah, George, you know, let's find a way we can. These kids have disagreed. And you know what his father said? He says, hey, Bonnie, come on now. It's between them. We don't get involved. It's between them. And I suggest you don't either. Dad was like, ah. He called saying, Angela, things are not easy. But just pray and you'll get through it.
Miracles started to set in one by one, and with time she realized there was more to life than chasing a runaway love. God had given her a new life to live, and she grabbed it. When she was ready to rise again, her jailer comes back into her life.
All of a sudden I get a call from a headhunter. Headhunter says, oh, Angie, we've seen your resume, we love it. I'm calling from Isaac Hayes, we love your resume, we want you to come and run this job. It's going for $80,000 a year. A year. And we want you to come. But it's a paid training, so you have to come to Minnesota. In my head, I'm like, I'm finished. How do I even get there? Miracles keep coming. Guess what? Do you have an internet? Yes. Do you have a printer? Yes. We're sending you an e-ticket. We're paying for everything. Just print the ticket. Miracles keep coming, saying, we love you. We're mad about your resume. We've been following you up. We're sending someone to pick you up at your doorstep. He'll bring you to the airport. And when you get to Minnesota for your training, guess what? It's paid. Not all training is paid. Paid training for the whole month. Paid, full paid.
It's okay. It's okay, my dear.
And he showed me who he was. And that is why that's why I'll never, ever leave Jesus. And that's why I'll always do good for others, because I know he did so much for me. All of a sudden, one day, I'm now into the job, my $80,000 job. I'd lost weight. I started, dressing up and appreciating my body and appreciating who I am. I hear a knock on the door one day. Who is it? It's Alonzo. I said, what? The whole thing was too confusing. It was too much. Then he comes back and he became an amazing man. I don't know what happened in this month apart. And he didn't know I even had a new job. So he was like, wow, you look amazing. You've lost weight. And in my heart, I'm like, I wish you knew what I went through, but I was happy. So finally, my parents moved in and they came to our new apartment and they were like, wow. And my father asked he took us out for dinner and all that. And then one day, the next day, he asked us for a meeting. He said, I want to meet you and Alonzo with your mom, and let's sit and talk. So we sat down, we talked. And then my father's like, Alonzo, you guys have gone through a rough patch. God is great, you've got through it. You're back together, I'm happy. But I think that now it's time to move things up. He says, it's a token of my appreciation for being with my daughter. I don't want to disrespect you. I have a present. I don't want to give it to Angela. I want to give it to you. It's $10,000 cash. I want you to go and buy a house. So he gives him the $10,000 cash, and Alonzo shocks us. He says, he said to my dad, Mr. Katatumba, thank you so much. I love your daughter. I'm ready to take care of her. She's my woman now. But two things. One, we're not ready for a house. What if the electricity goes out? My dad says, you get an electrician. He says, what if the plumbing, breaks down? My dad was like, then you get a plumber. What's the big deal? He's like, no, we're not ready. That's too much responsibility. Plus, I don't want any handouts. I want to take care of my woman myself. But my dad was like, without being disrespectful, it's your woman taking care of you right now. Here's an opportunity for you to, get a mortgage and get some responsibility, and it'll kind of force you into a bigger job that will take care of both of you, instead of it being one-sided. And I know you're not comfortable with it just being Angie taking care of both of you. He was like, no, I'm fine with it. I will discuss it with Angie. I'm going to get a better job and I'll take care of my woman. But thank you. Gave him back the envelope. And he walked out of the house. He said, thank you, so much respect, I love you. And left the house. I'll see you in the evening. That is the day I said, we looked at myself, me and my dad and my mom. And that is the day it's like a light came on in my head. And I said, you know what? I'm in the wrong place here.
It's not going anywhere.
I'm never going to progress with this man. I said, Papa, quickly, bring me that 10,000. He gave me the money. We went together, we found some beautiful houses. Then for the next 3-4 days, we started negotiating. We found one beautiful one, hardwood floor, the island in the kitchen, beautiful. It was worth about $200,000. Beautiful. Paid the closing costs. Closing costs were only $7,000. $3,000 my dad paid for the furniture in my house. It was even more than enough. Got the house, put it in my names. Then my dad is like, don't tell Alonso. Even that business of, why are you going at 3 o'clock every morning? I never asked. So, he said sarcastically, so do you want me to move out? I said, no, it's okay, I could move out. He said, he was like, yeah, right, move where? I said, no, it's okay. He said, do you need space? I said, but meanwhile, I was moving my things out to my other house slowly by slowly. So the next morning, 6 a.m., I was gone to my new house, to my new everything. He couldn't believe it. He didn't even know the location. So he called. I said, I need space. Let's just, I had to do it slowly and systematically because he was very aggressive. All of a sudden, I get a better job. I get a call from this casino. And they're like, we're ready to offer you, how much are you making now at Isaac Hayes? I'm like, I'm making 80 grand a year. And they're like, we're ready to offer you so much more. We love your resume. And before you know it, I got a better job at the casino, this time earning $100,000 with bonuses. As much as I was happy and I had so much money, I learned another lesson. Money isn't everything. I was too busy. I was working 18 hours a day at the casino. So my mom would be like, but every time I call you, you have everything, but you're so unhappy. You sound unhappy. What's the problem? I said, I don't know. She said, come to Uganda. I said, Mama, I left Uganda when we were shopping at Nakasero supermarket. You know Nakasero market? I left Uganda at that level. I'm telling you, I have problems. I'm not happy. You're telling me come to Uganda for what? What's there? She's like, come. By then I left when I was so young, so I did not expect this development in Kampala. So she said, just come for a 2-week holiday. You can afford it. I even came with a friend of mine. I was rolling that highly. I said, I had a friend of mine called Elizabeth. I said, come, I'll pay for your trip to go to Uganda. Let's go see what's up. We'll come back. Oh my God, I came back to Uganda. A whole new chapter opened up. I found supermarkets. I found the development, the weather. I found Uganda heaven. And then I went back and I quit my casino job, sold my car, sold my house, and then started living here. Then finally, 2008, Alonso was like, I didn't even have my number in Uganda. He found me on my Angela Katatumba Development Foundation. By then, I'd started singing and I'd been established. My parents were like, just sing and be a role model. As long as you do it right, you've done your education, you've made us happy. Sing, since you've loved singing since you were a child, just sing. Make us happy, make us proud. So now I started living life and enjoying the weather and enjoying Kampala and just heaven, And then all of a sudden, 2008, I'm here in Uganda and I see divorce papers arriving. I'm like, okay. I signed them, notarized them, sent them back, he notarized them, and 2008, we called it a day. So 3 years together, 5 years apart. That was the marriage.
What big lesson did you pick from this chapter of your life?
Oh my God, I picked so many lessons. Number one is that we need Jesus in our lives. I honestly took the Lord for granted for so many years because I grew up with everything, so I knew Jesus for what? But guess what? Whether with the money, whether without money, there are times you'll be in a corner where not even money can handle.
I know.
Because even with all the money in the world, all I wanted was Alonso, my heart. And it's only the Lord, the Bible, that got me through that. I learned that the biggest lesson is the Lord. And I love him and I always give him the glory for that. thank Jesus in everything I do. On stage, everyone, on camera, Jesus, number one always. That's my number one lesson.
Coming up on Life Stories,
people of my color were not well respected. Most of them, it was were delivered by chance somewhere with, maybe girls of the night, maybe, lived in slum areas. So we had that reputation.